I will be explaining how I have replaced this plastic piece of crap cutoff switch for my main air conditioning system. This is the central system. This house has 5 air conditioners, and this is the main one. I'm not a licensed electrician, so I'm just going to show you what I did. And in this video, there will not be any promotions or begging or anything like that. So it's already installed, and I would like to have a video through the whole installation, removal and installation process, but it's not practical because I don't have a helper. So I'm going to show you what I did. Is first remove the old box. No, let me back up. No, before you remove the old box, the first thing you do is identify which breaker goes to it and shut that breaker off. And also, I completely redid all my breakers, and I wish I had someone to video that, because that would have been quite a helpful video. And so mine are labeled directly onto the breaker, which I recommend, but very few people do. I actually, in some ways, am far advanced beyond a licensed electrician in some ways, but in some ways I'm not. So in this case, I identified this here as the air conditioner condenser, meaning the outside unit is the breaker to shut off. But I go ahead and shut the air handler off too, because they're both intertwined a little bit, and I don't want to get zapped from some feed coming from this to that, not through the breaker panel, but from that line connecting to the outside condenser. So you shut the 2 breakers off if you have 2 breakers. Then you need to get an electrical tester and make sure there's really nothing going to it before you start messing with this 240 volt. Some modern high efficiency mini splits will be 115 volts, 110 to 120 volts. Oh, no. So pretend like this is the old box, although this is currently the new one. Pretend it's the old one. So you pull the, I forgot what that's called, pull that off, and then take the cover off. And now you see what would be the old cables. And while holding the black onto a ground, touch the hot wire, check the voltage, do it for all 4 of those. Okay, then you can turn that off. If it reads 0 or 0.1 or less, then you should be good to go. Usually a flathead screwdriver. You will undo all of those lugs. No, first take a picture of how it's installed, then start undoing the lugs, pull all the wires out, and use a screwdriver with a hammer if necessary to get these rings off. In this case, usually there will be 2, and everything should fall apart. And then when you get the old box completely off, I like to take a few of these out and put them in reserve in case I lose the ones off the new ones. They may fall down into something and I could never find them. So it's good to have a couple of these on hand before you throw the whole box away. Salvage anything you like. And some of the old ones, these pull-out handles will have copper with a Phillips screw. So I take the Phillips screw out, take the copper pieces, throw the plastic away, and I put them in one of my water fountains because they will develop a patina and look kind of interesting, such as this copper piece here has developed a nice patina, and they make a good decoration to have that green patina. Same thing with extra thick wire. Stick in there. Eventually this will turn green and look kind of cool maybe. Here are two of the other air conditioners. There's another one over there and then another one on the side. So there are 4 air conditioners back here. They each have their own metal box that I installed. By the way, you need a permit for this kind of work usually, unless you're outside the city limits. In case you still might need a county permit, probably not any kind of a state permit, but usually city and sometimes county, sometimes both city and county. So check with that. So in here, the kind of box I buy, I learned the hard way, are the non-fusible type. I like non-fusible because you don't have to worry about blowing fuses, and usually they don't come with a fuse when you buy them. So when you take it home, you have to make another trip to go get the fuse. So if you accidentally get one with fuses, I recommend instead of making a trip back to get the fuse, I would just take the whole thing back and swap it out for one that is not fused. All of these are rated for 240 volts. The amps range is generally from 30 to 60 amps. For a huge unit like this, you want to go with a 60 amp one. I think the breaker, you can check the breaker and see, in this case, it is a 45 amp breaker. So that means the box outside, the cutoff switch, needs to be also at least 45 amp rated, 240 volts, which I think, but I'm not sure. If it's 120 volts, you would just cut that number in half. You can always go too big, but you can't go too small. And since the price between 30 and 60 amps is usually nothing, I would go ahead and just go with 60. Some of the new ones come with aluminum. I don't know what this is called. Instead of copper, they're going with aluminum because although copper is not terribly expensive, they want to make as big as profit as possible. So that's what that's all about. So isn't that kind of backwards? I mean, in the past they had this part copper and the box plastic. Now it's kind of switched where the box is now metal, not copper, but it's metal, a heavy metal. And then these are cheap. It's just weird. Some of the other things, before you put the new box on, you'll need to align it with your entry ports and then use a level up here to get this level. As you're holding it level, you need to use a marker and mark where the big holes are, where a screw is going to go, because if you redo it, the chances are that's not going to line up with the previous holes, because these manufacturers are not consistent. And with a solid concrete house like I have, that's built to withstand category 4 to 5 hurricanes, you're going to need a hammer drill, which is a special kind of hammer drill. Ear protection, because these are so loud. I have a Skill hammer drill. I don't have any links in the description. I'm not doing this to make money. And so with the hammer drill, you need the right bit, and then you're going to put in some anchors, the plastic anchors with preferably galvanized or stainless screws. You'll hammer those in with a plastic mallet hammer, these things, and then that's kind of tricky to do. If you have wood, you're lucky. That's easy to work with. So some other things. In my case, the The load line was too short. They didn't allow enough slack. I don't know how this passed inspection. I did not install this system. Look at that, how tight that is. This load line, that is unacceptable, and I think I'm going to contact the city, since this was installed 4 years ago and I paid a licensed electrician to do this. This should not pass, and I'm going to see if they can redo it for free, the company that put it in, by force or by customer service, even though it's out of warranty now. So this is a beautiful, good install. You got the 2 ground wires. If the ground wires are, if any of the wires are mangled, cut that off and start new on top. If the wires are long enough. In the case, you can see this one is very short, so I didn't do that. But this one was so short that I had to add an extension, and since these were too long, I cut those off by a couple inches and used one of those to add on to this one here. You can see originally red and now black. You can do that with alternating current AC. You can mix black and red, but you cannot mix black and green or red and green. And you can't have bare copper ground extended with a red or black wire going to the ground. You can recolor it, but that's not recommended because that eventually fades away or the tape comes off. Tape is very unreliable. It's all made in China crap. It just doesn't stay on. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what the code is, but I think you have to have at least 2 screws holding this box on the wall. In my case, I have 3, and there was a 4th opportunity there that I turned down because the structure was too weak in that spot where this entry hole is here, was too close to there, and I didn't want that breaking through. So I just have 3 points, but it is level, and I think generally the code is every 3 feet you have to have an anchor point, and that's why I don't think this should have passed code, because you have more than 3 feet before it anchors onto something. Sometimes they do allow zip ties, but those zip ties are made in China and they degrade and fall apart. I just don't understand how such shoddy crap gets passed so easily. It just kind of defeats the purpose of having licensed electricians. I really don't appreciate the field in that regard, how the standards are so low. And the manufacturers often have very sharp edges on it. A lot of things you get cut. The standards are just very bad in my opinion. And I feel the same way about plumbing. Plumbing parts are very, very bad quality, made in China crap usually. It's just, anyway, so, yeah. I think these are big enough where the aluminum isn't going to be a problem with conductivity, because the length is very short. So the shorter the length, the more you can get away with something like that. So that should be okay. Aluminum does conduct fairly well. When you reassemble everything, you're going to put the cover on first, and then this goes over the cover. It's kind of quirky, and they usually have it marked on and off. So if it reads on, that means the breaker is on, and if it's upside down, that means it's off. And then here they have both on and danger, but out of sheer stupidity or corporate greed, they didn't spend the extra 25 cents to machine on some kind of color, like a red on and green off or whatever, and then a red danger and a red lightning bolt. That all should be red, color red, so we can see it. This black on black is just absolutely unacceptable to me. That's just totally total negligence. And I see that all throughout electrical stuff. It's just absolutely negligent. For example, the breakers do have the white number on black, so that's good. In my opinion, it's just barely acceptable. I think they should go even further and make it glow in the dark, perhaps. But okay. And that brings me to another thing. I think all these should have a little LED light shining down so you can see what you're doing in the middle of the night if you need to go do something. Sometimes if the with a battery backup in case the power's out. Now my surge protector does have always on lights, but they don't illuminate over here at all. This is a sub panel I installed for the other. I think this one covers about 3 or 4 mini split air conditioners. This one covers one, and the main system is there. And when you're done, you have the option. You can paint this your house color. So I always have mason jars with house color paint for things like that. And you can also optionally paint this the house color. The inspectors don't care if it's painted before the inspection, so you don't have to wait for the inspection to paint this. Here are a couple of generator connectors that I installed similarly to over there. These are in case there's power outage for an extended amount of time. I can plug a generator in to power the whole house or most of the house and have the generator outside and not have to run an extension cord through the door or window. Because here's the extension cord. I think it's 50 amps. Yeah, there's the generator breaker. Now, if you're replacing a like for a like, such as in this case, you might not need a permit at all. A lot of cities are very lenient about that. So like for like, meaning you're replacing a 60 amp air conditioner cutoff with another 60 amp air conditioner cutoff. It's fine if they're different brands and they look different. As long as they function the same, you generally don't need a permit. And I think that's the same thing generally with a water heater, is if you replace a water heater with the same type, then you might not need a permit. Look at the quality work I do. I try to get really quality parts when I do stuff. Oh, by the way, I get a discount on my electric bill by letting the electric company shut off my water heater whenever they need extra power on the grid. So if you're running your cable, if it's not already run, your service power cord, generally you need one of these fasteners on the wall every 3 feet to meet the code. So here I have 2, and they don't like stuff dangling around very much, so this would pass. You're allowed to have this in the air because you don't have much of a choice. This one I just redid today. This is the same box. You can hardly tell because I painted it this color. That's a fresh install. It also had a plastic piece of crap box, and I replaced it with a metal one. Here you can see I freshly added a strap there because I wasn't real happy with this being so free right there. Even though this already passed inspection, I went ahead and added another one there because in the future, if I sell the house or whatever, the appraiser or the home inspector, if they're really good with electrical, they may catch that being so unattached and cause that to be a ding. I also don't like these plastic outlets, so someday I may replace all these with metal. I don't know. They're just kind of fragile and they break easy. All right, that's all I can think of for now. If you have any thoughts about this, recommendations, or if you caught me doing anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. or if you have any recommendations on how to do something better than what I did, please let us know. Thanks.